So how has Germany been treating you guys?
It's great, excellent. Little cold this time of year, but we love it.
I agree with everything you just said. Yeah, it's been awesome. Definitely a bit cooler than Florida, but yeah, crowds have been great so far.
The perception of Germans, like when you're an American, what are the typical things that you would say about the Germans, that maybe are not even true, but that you figured out, as time went by?
That they make really, really nice cars, for sure, and they're great at soccer. And they're tall.
There you go.
It's an impossible language to learn.
That's true. That's actually really true.
Again, I would have to agree with my sidekick there. Yeah, very efficient at everything.
Okay. Let's try to be efficient too. The Last Hero is the current album, of course. So when it came out, like a lot of people thought, this is a political take, on the current situation, particularly in America, the Trump situation, all that. It is not, right? I mean, it has a different approach to it, right?
Yeah, I think that's safe to say. I mean, I'm sure that while the album was being written, a lot of the campaign was sort of on TV constantly. So I'm positive that a lot of that kind of seeped into some of the lyrical content. But yeah, overall, there's broader themes than just politics. This album deals a lot with sort of the hero theme, the need for heroes, the lack of heroes, building up a hero just to tear him down. A lot of that we see in society today.
Have you been into comic book heroes ever? Like, did you?
Not really. My older brother Mike was, so he. I remember when he used to read me comics when I was a little kid, but not much. I like all the superhero movies. They're great.
You like that? Okay,
Yeah.
okay. At least this. Okay.
Yeah.
So there's a bit of a crossover from the superhero movies, at least, into the. I mean, you guys, you've been doing this for quite a while now together. So does it still feel fresh when you play shows and stuff like that, or does it get sort of old at some point in between? Sometimes that like just like normal people, at some point go like, well, I don't want to play today.
Yeah, I think it's definitely fresh. Currently, we're playing a lot of new material, anywhere from 4 to 6 new songs each night. So it's certainly kept our attention, and we're not sitting back and getting complacent with, it's just the same set over and over. And we've tried to mix it up each night, where we are introducing a couple of different songs, even if it's off of previous records. But just to where we're not repeating ourselves every night. And we've kind of got sort of a standard set list that we sort of work off of and try and change it up as much as possible for us, just as much as it is for the fans.
You guys had so many experiences, crazy things. Slash, for example, for a while was part of your life, of course. So, is there particular situations that you would think of, like from the past, that you completely have sort of in your head, remember them forever, kind of thing?
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, I think there's a lot of if it's shows or just an experience that we've all had. A lot of this is the first time we've ever played this room, but there's a lot of rooms through Europe that we played before, and each time you walk in, it's instant memories from the last time that you were there, 2 or 3 times previous to that. So we've certainly had our fair share of awesome experiences and try to retain those memories as much as possible.
I'm also, of course, aiming at the sort of rock and roll cliche stuff, particularly with all the experiences that you had in the past. Is there things that stuck with you?
Lots of things, playing. We've gotten to play with all our favorite bands. Playing with Metallica for the first time was a big one for me. Eddie Van Halen giving me his guitar. Going to watch Van Halen rehearse at 5150 Studios and playing all around the world, with every band that I've ever looked up to. So we're pretty happy with what we've gotten to do.
Has it changed a lot? I mean, I'm under the impression that there's a lot more discipline going on with younger bands these days. It's not like the party hard stuff overall anymore. The whole rock and roll cliche thing has seemed to sort of disappeared more and more. Would you say that's true?
I think that's accurate. I mean, I'm sure that there's some bands that still do it, and I mean, we have our moments, I guess, every now and then. But you listen to, for instance, Gojira playing tonight. Such a technically sound amazing band, you know that, at least I would think that, you know, partying for hours on end before the show is not going to result in them sounding as good as they do. So I think there's a lot of bands that are, and younger kids that are really taking, you know, their instrument very seriously and trying to perfect that craft.
But imagine if there were cell phone cameras and social media back in the 80s.
Yeah.
It's not like it was, you know.
Yeah, exactly.
Different situation these days. I mean, talking about the political thing again, I know that you are not sort of like, you don't really like to sort of take a side, you know, that's my impression.
Yeah. I think that's accurate. I mean, I think it's, to me, and I think Miles feels the same way, it's really up to the listener to decide what they take from those lyrics and how they want to apply it to you know, their life or their beliefs or whatever. Once you take a side, you tend to alienate 50% of everybody that's out there. So we sort of present options, if you will, and then, you know, let that listener take it for what it's worth and decide how they want to use it.
Do you think it's strange if bands are sort of taking a very strong position, like, you know, pretty much the opposite from?
I look at a band like Rage Against the Machine, for instance, which was very political and had a very specific message, but I feel like the way they did it, it didn't alienate anybody. Everybody, you know, was one of the best bands around as far as I'm concerned. I think Mark and I would agree. We got to do a festival with them probably back in 2011, I think it was, and that was hands down one of the greatest shows I think I've ever seen. It might have actually been 2008 now that I think about it, but a band like that can get away with it. I don't know that a band like us would. It just doesn't fit our style.
Having sort of spent time with bands every now and then on tour, it's a lot of waiting around. It's a lot of sort of, you know, waiting until the show actually happens. What do you guys do?
I do guitar clinics in the morning and then go right into sound check, go right into meet and greets.
What's a guitar clinic?
I teach guitar, you know, and then
Online or?
no, we do it here at the show.
Oh, really?
You know, yeah.
A little bit more.
About 1:30 in the afternoon, I meet with whoever signs up, and I ask them what they want to go over, and I teach them guitar. So that takes up a couple hours. Then we do sound check, meet and greets, VIP meet and greets after that, straight to catering, do some press, and then you have a couple hours before the show.
So who can come to these guitar lessons?
Anybody who signs up.
Cool.
Yeah.
So and then they would sit around backstage somewhere and you teach them some licks and stuff. That's great. So is it sometimes really beginners or is it sort of advanced?
I've had beginners. I've had people who don't even play guitar that just want to sit and watch, and I've had Berkeley students. I've had everything.
That's
yeah.
funny. So at least do something valuable with your time, actually. How about you?
I do nothing like that at all. Yeah, no, I sit around, play words with friends, catch up on my sports back home, and chat with the family. That's about it. I've talked to Mark a lot about actually trying to do drum clinics like that, but I think the logistics of setting up 6 drum kits are, you know, it's a little more than we can tackle right now. So.
Just need one.
Okay. All right.
Are you sort of keeping up with sort of pop cultural stuff, or is that completely not interesting to you guys?
Yeah, well, keeping up with the new reality shows of the world and whatnot, or
example, yeah, or everything that's going on in.
You know, when we're over here in Europe, we're kind of disconnected from home because we, you know, like here in Germany, there's 2 channels we can watch, and it's CNN and BBC or Al Jazeera or something, and you get tired of watching the news. And so over here, I think I get on Amazon Prime or whatnot and watch whatever show is streaming. So we're a little
Such as?
I just watched 60 Days In. I watched both seasons. I love that show. What am I watching now? I'm watching The Last Kingdom. I watched Stranger Things. Good.
That was great.
Yeah. So as much as I can, you know, we got a lot of spare time on our days off.
As far as pop culture, I mean, I kind of keep up with it, but not really. And then again, like he said, a lot of it's sort of connecting back home on the computer or watching shows that I'm a big Walking Dead fan, which I don't know that You guys get that over here? Oh, you do? Okay, all right. Good to
The
know.
whole world gets The Walking Dead.
Finally. All right, awesome. Well, then I'll have to. There was an episode last night, so I got to catch up.
Suck, the main guy died.
Spoiled it. All right. Well, looking forward to seeing you tonight here on stage at the Palladium in Cologne. You sure been here before in Cologne, right?
Oh, a bunch of times, yeah.
Remember it? I mean,
Yeah.
something particular about the city?
This was might have been the first city we ever came to over in Europe on tour, and I remember walking over to the cathedral and just being blown away because that's the first time I'd seen something so old and so grand. So it was a good first impression.